So for this video, I wanted to talk a bit about opening traps because it will be a good way to transition from openings to the more tactical stuff. Tactics in chess are the most important thing for all levels, so I will need to talk about them sooner or later. It will probably be the next thing on this list after the video. Alright, so about opening traps, it's impossible to cover all the famous ones in a short video like this. Uh, there's a lot of traps you can look up online. I'm also planning to make like a trap playlist, including both the famous ones and the more obscure ones that I believe should be well known. Okay, because of this, because I can't talk about all the different specific traps, I will approach this lesson with a more holistic uh, content. So my goal is to give you tips to help reduce falling for traps without ever having seen them before in your game. So if your opponent is setting up a trap and you are not familiar with it, I am hoping that this lesson will help make it so that you can survive. The first thing that is important to know is that maybe 95+% of traps are inferior lines. Uh, they're not good moves, and if you play perfectly, you should be able to reap an advantage in every case. There's some very rare cases where maybe a trap is good, but those tend to be only known among the master level, the titled players. Uh, so, number one, the way to avoid opening traps is with tactical skill, okay? That's the only way. There's no shortcut, you just need a strong tactical vision and a thinking process that promotes tactical vision. When you are playing a chess game, you always have to look out for tactical possibilities for both you and your opponent. For the purpose of this course, we can define tactics as a trick that makes us either checkmate the king or win the material by force. In other words, win like a knight for a pawn or win a queen in exchange for a rook. Okay, regarding the definition of tactics, I can discuss that in a tactical fundamentals course. I would not define a trap as a self-destructing move. I will show you what I mean. In this exchange French opening, black could try bishop d6 here, and let's just say white plays something like knight f3, and black blunders knight d7. Can you find a way to win the game for white by winning material? Right, so you can win the bishop with pawn c5. This is the way. Now there's absolutely no way to save the bishop. There's no counterattack or anything. So you're just winning this piece for free, and white should win. Okay, I would not consider this as like an opening trap by definition, because I don't think you should classify an opening trap based on a self-destructing move like knight e7. Look, if we give white a free move, there's no way to win this bishop. The only reason we won the bishop is because black screwed himself over with this knight move. Instead, he should have played knight f6 or maybe c6, or he could even try to take here, although that's probably risky, developing white's position in the center. Okay, so maybe I can run through a couple well-known traps. The first one I can talk about is maybe in the Berlin, which is this opening. Okay, white can castle, that's a good move. White could also play knight c3, that's also a good move. And then finally, white could play d3. That's also a good move. Black can set up a trap with knight e7. It looks like a very strange move, right? Because you're moving the same piece twice in the opening. That's not what you're supposed to do. However, you have to be very careful here. There's something in mind, and you just have to kind of try to smell it, okay? Can white take this pawn or not? What do you think? Is it safe to take the pawn? Of course it's not safe to take the pawn because maybe opponent prepared some home preparation or something. But in fact, this is just losing a piece after pawn to c6. First of all, we attack this bishop, and more importantly, we are opening the queen up for a sinister trap. Let us say that white plays his bishop to c4 here, right? Now, how do you win a piece for black? You just play queen a5, forking the king and the knight. And I guess for the tactical video that I want to make, I will mostly emphasize double attacks and like double threats, stuff like that, because these are the most important tactics, and yeah, they, especially for a beginner, okay? So this would win a piece. There's no way to save this piece here. And, okay, black will take it and remain a piece up. Therefore, white should not take the pawn. He needs to do something different. A move like castle would be good. Computer will say bishop c4, but okay, you're moving the same piece twice, right? But black did it, so it's kind of like you can get away with it yourself too. It's not a big deal. The point is now that you're actually threatening to take, since black did not play c6, therefore there's no queen a5 fork, and then meanwhile you will be hitting this f7 target. I want to show one more trap based around this c6 maneuver. Anytime your opponent plays c6, you have to be kind of careful. Here's an opening. Trumpovsky. Black can play c6. It's an unusual move. The best, well, okay, maybe debatable what's the best move. This is one of the main lines, just to play d5. You can also play knight e4 or e6, but let's say black plays c6. What if you play e3, right? It looks so natural. You are preparing to open this bishop somewhere, and you're moving a pawn in the center, kind of stabilizing your own center, and you're going to prepare to castle. This gets screwed by a trap, and it's very similar to that first trap I showed you. Queen a5, attacking the piece and the king. So when you are unfamiliar with the position, you have to be very alert about these traps. And the only way to do it is to improve your tactical vision plus think in terms of a tactical mindset. When you follow chess philosophy like I discussed in my first two videos, you're not really following concrete theory. You're not really memorizing opening moves. So you should always be cautious. There is a pretty, well, somewhat famous coach with a high reputation named Josef Dorfman. He is a Soviet/French grandmaster, and in one of his books called The Method in Chess, he quoted something along the lines of that dividing chess into 3 stages as the opening, middle game, and end game serves no practical value during a game. In fact, it can be harmful because it can cause us to play automatic in the opening and therefore miss tactical shots or get trapped ourselves. So that quote has some truth into it. Maybe during a game, you should not think of the opening as the opening, if that makes sense. You should treat the opening like it's a middle game or like it's an end game, so that you don't miss those critical moments. So from this, we can deduce one piece of advice, which is don't play automatic in the opening. Slow down and look around. And again, look for tactics. You should always be looking for tactics. Secondly, if your opponent plays automatic, fast, or confident, well, you should not only slow down, like again, but you should also try to smell what's coming. Because again, it might be home preparation. So that's true for both online or real life. Let's say they go, like you move like calmly and then they're like, pow, pow, pow. You have to, well, smell what's coming and try to play mature. So what else? I can demonstrate one more trap. Because this one is also very important. It's called the fishing pole trap. It could arise from the Berlin. Okay, first we talked about like this trap, right? You cannot take the pawn. But let's say instead of d3, white castles. And this is an absolutely good move. Black can play knight g4. It's not a good move. And after h3, black set up a trap with h5. It looks kind of strange. You are giving up a knight for a pawn. Shouldn't you take it? It seems like you just win a piece for no compensation. Okay, here's the catch. Black plays queen h4. And now all of a sudden he's attacking the knight and threatening checkmate. If you play like a random move, then he's going to take the piece. And if you try to capture the pawn with the knight, okay, he guards this square, so he cannot checkmate here. However, he has this square to work with, checkmating the white king. What other tries can white do? He could try f4 or f3. The idea is that after the queen takes, you escape with your king. However, black has a nice reply, g3 here, and all of a sudden it becomes impossible to stop the checkmating threats because your king is stuck and cannot move away. So when they play like h5 like this, you have to smell what's coming. And once you realize that taking the g4 knight is not a good move, you have to come up with something more calm and something more mature. Something that kind of disrupts their plans. Here you can just play d3 and emerge with a better game. In fact, I think even taking the knight is okay if you are willing to sacrifice the knight back, like this way. Now after queen h4, maybe I'm wrong. He's threatening both here and here, so maybe you cannot do that either. Well, you can play queen h3, that's the only move, and then, okay, they win a pawn, and yeah, black should be better. So the best move is definitely to just play something like d3 here. In fact, you don't even have to play h3, although it's going to be okay. Moves like h5 do not follow the principles of the opening, so you have to, you have to allow them to play such moves if they want. Okay. Any other thing important to cover for this video? Well, I think that covered a lot already, and I think that will be good. For the next video, yes, indeed, I have decided that I will move on to the tactics. I'm still thinking about whether to start with the checkmating ideas or to start with things like double attacks, pins, trapped pieces, which is a very important one too. And I hope to see you there, and I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you.